Alright, so welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and today I wasn't really planning to make any videos the rest of this week and this weekend, but we had a surprise announcement, I guess, an emergency ban, and if you haven't seen it already, it is all about the Universe 3 cards. Before I get into that, of course, subscribe if you are new. Check out the previous video that I talked about before when I talked about Vegex getting banned or the options for that. My vote, if anything was going to happen, not only kind of prevents the other leaders from abusing it, but if we do limit, let's say, the U3 cards, it does limit the free actions per turn that they can actually do within the game. In this one, in that one, it actually kind of turned out to be right, in which the second option that I gave was to either ban or limit the U3 cards. But I want to go through the announcement, maybe even some comments and things that go with it, and then what's going to be the format, or at least everything going forward, to kind of prevent this, and what we're going to be seeing in the future as well. Okay, here is the official statement, or the ban announcement on the official Facebook group. If you haven't seen it already, you can just look up Dragon Ball Super card game, and then it's the first official one with all the 80,000, something like that. I don't know. And if you look here, it says, "To our fans, we would like to thank you for continued support, etc. We've been monitoring feedback from players, the community, and stores regarding certain cards in the metagame since the release of the 3 Rise of the Unison starter decks I don't know how they put that, on June 5th. While we test our cards internally before release, we feel that Draft Box 5's cards, or Universe 3 cards, combined with the same Wonder Starter deck Vegex archetype, has created an impressive play pattern, exceeding our expectations. With our core commitment to the enjoyment of the players, as well as the health and diversity of the gameplay, we decided to ban the following cards effective July 17th. And it's going to be the Viara, Nigrishi, the 2-drop Pepperoni, and then Analyza for 5-drop, which all of them are here. We sincerely apologize to ban these cards on short notice for any disappointment with this announcement, all the people who lost their money. And we believe that the starter deck is still enjoyable and strong deck without the cards listed above, which is probably true. And we thank you for the understanding and look forward to enjoying the upcoming release." So pretty standard release, right? It's very, how should I say it? It's very high level, I would say. I think the main points that they actually put out is that they are monitoring from the players, the community, and stores, whether it's people who are reaching out to them, the feedback they give from the Google Forms that they put out, the community, as in the main Facebook group, other groups, Discords, even for us here, as me as a content creator, and other content creators like Joey, Eggman, and everybody else from like 3XG and more. I think these are all things that obviously I put out that video before. That's one thing. I'm not sure if that did anything, but the decks that came with it, like Sandy's Vegex deck, the Gohan, the set 6 Gohan, I do believe, Birdhan deck that had the U3 cards, kind of showcased this was an issue. Like, this is definitely an issue, not fun to be playing against or even play as sometimes, because I mean, if you feel pretty good about doing turn 2, turn 1 deaths, then maybe it's not that, but definitely not fun to play against, and really not good as far as the health of the game, just like they were saying. And when it comes down to it, it was just something that it was very oppressive, just like they were saying, very oppressive. It was very hard to get around. Vegex didn't really care about having a hand, and even when he did, you can just pop in 4 apes and mill 5 twice, and there you go. Now you have a hand back, right? So because of all this free stuff, it became an issue, and because it was Gohan, it became an issue even more. And then all the things that it came along, they probably realized that, you know, this stuff is more free than it intended. I think Bandai should probably take a step back and maybe watch some Full Metal Alchemist and understand what equivalent exchange really means, because honestly, yes, you have to have a black battle card with a cost of 4, 3, 2, and 5, but at the same time, they're easy to get out, especially with Overrealm, especially with all the other black support that they gave. So it became generic enough to kind of shove into other decks a completely different deck, being Red Burnhan, and make it effective. And if you haven't seen, I think Marcus just put up a video of turn tuning like 3 different decks pretty consistently. yeah, you should probably understand that it was definitely an issue. Now, what do I think about the ban? Pretty easy. I said it in the video. I already put all my thoughts. I wrote like a 1,500 word document. I mean, go watch that video. It was a pretty much of like ban the leader, ban the U3 cards or the Dropbox cards that come with it, or issue errata. But they went with the ban. It's understandable that people are actually a little bit mad about the pricing of these cards, but Bandai has nothing to do with that. Remember, they have nothing to do with the secondary market. The only thing they did wrong with it, though, is the short print of all of the Dropbox cards, and they need to take blame for that. They honestly need to understand that the Dropbox cards, and as well as the short print, is an issue. And because of this, it's going to drive away even more players. And now this is coming from a competitive standpoint in which they spend the money to buy the boxes and cases, and as well as singles and things like that. And if they want to buy and invest into a deck that's really strong, they're probably not going to do that anymore in the future, simply because it's going to be it's likely to be on the ban list, and it's going to be getting this trend over and over again. So I completely understand from that perspective. The secondary market, again, is not Bandai's issue. The issue comes from the short print and the availability of these cards. And I do not blame the people who want to be competitive and try to invest into a deck that eventually might be banned in the future because it might be too oppressive. And that also becomes an issue in which, you know, how are we really internally testing if we didn't see this stuff coming? If we are only testing within the set, or are we testing the last couple sets, or are we testing only relevant leaders? What is it, right? And that comes back to, how do we change that in the future? And I think the best way to do that is to employ people, or at least send cards or give reveals to certain people in the community that you're either are known top players or very good at building decks or finding these things out. Yes, people are joking about Sandy and trying to be hired on for that, but I think in the previous type of history that he had with Bandai, the very short history, I don't know if that's going to work out for him, but I really do agree that people should be put on Bandai's team, like their very small team, to test this stuff out. And because it's happened pretty much every set. Like it's a really strong oversight in which, you know, I don't blame them for not seeing every single thing, but at the same time, like how large is the R&D in which, you know, how do we get to this point yet again, and disappointing some people who invest in these decks, right? That's just how I see it. So now that U3 is gone, what happens to Vegix? Nothing. You can pretty much play everything except for the U3 cards, and maybe put a Kiku engine or something else into it, and it becomes a really good mid-range deck, if not still a pretty good aggro deck. Like all the stuff that comes in the starter deck still works really well with that leader. And if you give it some boosts with even though it's not as good, Super Saiyan 3 Gohan is still pretty good. It's just that it doesn't proc off all of these cards that are play for free. So the value of that's going to be a little less. And I think it's less Vegix now, and now more higher tier decks like starter deck Frieza, Invoker, even other things that have hand control as its basis, because I think that's the next thing that's going to be looked at, or at least explored, is going to be hand control. But now that we have a lot of things that interact with the drop, now they have a lot of things that draw and cycle through your deck, hand control probably isn't going to be as bad. It's just the fact that Tau is gone, is going to be running free, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't think black is even non-relevant now. It's not gone. We have a lot of things from Toa to the Kato engine to Kid Ku to Demigra. The list kind of goes on, and they even got more support outside of this Dropbox stuff and outside of Vegix stuff. So I think it's going to be perfectly fine, and I think people need to be a little bit more creative when that kind of stuff goes. And now the format's going to be even more wide now that this stuff is gone. So we'll see what happens with that as well. I'm going to go ahead and steal Eggman's poll here. Kind of overwhelming support so far as the first hour of this poll that came out. Are you happy that U3 got banned or not? And mostly yes. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes as far as that goes. I still do think, you know, limiting to one for all of them would probably be good. And Isaiah said the same thing, but he doesn't care because he didn't buy them. And I think that kind of what happens with like every deck that gets banned. I feel like with Shenron and everything else like that, and even Bardock, right? Nobody should care. The U3 got banned. I don't know about that. People who paid money, yeah. Super stoked. Raise hell a little bit. Bring back Turles. Turles is still a problem. Don't do that. Bad for gameplay, etc. Yeah, I mean, overall, pretty supportive. Helps diversify. Yeah, right. I see you guys. Don't worry. Last thing, as far as community feedback or at least response, I did. This is hilarious. You can't see it. Can I see it? Let me see. Yeah, that's that's pretty accurate. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I didn't know. I shot my shot as far as posting it first, as far as the main group chat. I didn't notice that when I shared it, it had 300 something comments, so I had to go through all of them. We're not going through all of them, but again, through this, it seems like pretty positive that, you know, it was the right move to go with, right? Richard Zapp went ahead and posted the video that I'm going to link below. You can check out that I mentioned earlier. Definitely go check that out and understand why that got banned. And are you really happy that it didn't get banned in that case, right? Proof that Bandai listens and watch out for the community. Yep, that's completely correct. Let Invoker run wild, maybe. I don't know. Samuel, the Frieza gang. Oh no. This is hilarious. That guy probably is a little mad. I didn't even read the whole thing. They listen really well, right? I understand. Definitely Renee. Bandai doesn't play playstyle enough. I already kind of talked about that. He's mad. I can't say that. I'm going to be demonetized. Thank you, Bandai. Yep, I agree, Russell. And they're going to ban Flying Nimbus or ERASED. Oh, that's my man. Oh no, don't do that. I hate that meme. I'm about to get demonetized. All right, you guys can go through these on the main Facebook page. I'm gonna look through them all as well right after this. But I want to make this quick video. Let me know in the comments below. I've talked enough. Definitely join the Discord. Watch me out as far as Twitch as well. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.